Let me tell you something. I've been trying to get away from smoking, and I did good this whole time, by the way. This was the first time in a long time. I went 15, 16 months. That's how serious I was about singing. I wanted my voice to be the best it could be, and can I tell you, I disciplined myself in my eating, in my exercise, in my what I was doing, period, the whole way around. I wanted to be the best for me that I could be, and I didn't judge other people around. Whatever they do, but I wanted to be the best me I could be, and that was something there. And let me tell you something, I did not want to go into the venues, and everybody kept saying, what are you going to do when it gets cold, Tracilyn? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? You going to go into coffee houses? You're going to go to, you got to do something. And my thing is I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to, I don't mind coffee houses and stuff. I'm not going into the bar rooms was my thing. I'm not going back. I wasn't fully aware whether or not, I know some bar rooms around Ohio, people still smoking it. I don't get upset with me. I'm a smoker. I smoke outside and I never get a hotel room that is smoke. It's always smoke free. Why is that? Because I've realized the danger and the ridiculousness of smoking in a closed room and staying in it. And as a singer, especially, I don't smoke when I know I'm singing. I take it very seriously. I change a lot of things about me. But let me tell you something. When you're playing venues for 7.5 years, not to mention you're raised around it, and you know it's unhealthy for you, it really should be outlawed. Period. I know that upsets a lot of people. I feel it should be. You know, give people the freedom to do whatever they want to do, but it definitely should not be indoors. Because it's simply, I realize this as a smoker. It's not fair to the other people around. It doesn't make any sense to sit in a closed room. If they're going to do it, then they ought to have a section that is just for smoking. They ought to have extremely high volume suction ventilation that takes the stuff out of there. It's just not fair to everybody, including ourselves, who are smokers. I get that. But obviously a lot of people who do smoke don't feel that way. I'm sorry that they do and don't, and I don't want to upset them because I know a lot of smokers and I love them, but I don't want to be living like that. I don't want to be playing venues where people are blowing smoke in your face all day long. You know, going home smelling like it, and your guitar smells like it, everything you have. And I fall into addiction out of depression or whatever, and you know, same thing. I'm not blaming other people for it. I'm just saying I don't want to be in that environment for the rest of my life. I was believing in a lot of different things, and I was foolish for it. Because obviously, if I'm blessed, one would say, then I'll be in a bar room filled with smoke. You know? So the next time around, because I was in the bed, I started realizing, you know what, I don't know what else to do. I really don't know what else to do. Music is my greatest passion. They had me stripped down out of my costume, and they would occasionally come around, and occasionally I'd put it on just to see what they would say. And it got to the point to the one time after I didn't wear it for a long time, because I realized once the costume's gone, I had a different reaction by the people. I like to entertain. I want to do something fun and enjoyable with my life. I don't want to live a very dull, boring life. So now I'm standing out there in plain clothes. I mean, pretty much I'm blending in. I'm looking similar to everybody else out there, right? For the most part. Some of you might say differently, but similar to the most part. Okay, but what's the big deal? Well, you're blending in. I already know. Let me tell you something. There's nobody on the face of the earth that can teach me about blending in. I was in the music business. I fully understand. I did anything from places that were considered to be more on the trashy side up to extremely elite and high-class homes and yacht clubs. And I did big venues in different areas where only bands were playing. Let me tell you something. And I did healthcare facilities. I did children's parties. I know all about blending in for the occasion. My problem is I don't want to keep on going through my life blending in for the occasion. I want to be Tracilyn, and I want to do something fun with my talents. Okay? So the costume came off, and all of a sudden my spirit kind of diminished. And I realized at that point the only thing I really enjoy doing, since I'm out here, is singing. I can sing for 12 hours. Just sing the same songs over and over again. And through that process, I learned how to sing. And these people would stop by every once in a while and give me kind of vocal lessons. Kind of funny, isn't it? They were listening to me. Even to the point that they told me they could hear me better with the PA system. These people, whoever they were, I don't know who's all tied into it. I believe it's a lot of people, and I have assumptions, and I can go on about those assumptions, whether or not I could ever prove it. How can you prove it? I can show a whole lot of stuff. I can show stuff, video clips that have been on television that I can plainly see and tell you what it was that I was discussing and talking about, even in Las Vegas recently with somebody, and it isn't very long that I see this stuff and different YouTube videos and stuff. I could go on and different images. I can tell you, and then how that popped up. You know, whether or not it's a coincidence, I don't know what to say. It's a crazy coincidence, everything, really. Kind of funny that it's by the people that I've been talking about as well on those days. So, I don't want to get too carried away with that. I'm going to just bring that up every once in a while. Maybe make you think I'm crazy. This stuff is happening even to the point that they're trying to help me. They're kind of giving me vocal lessons. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but they're kind of giving me vocal lessons. So in a way, this is a great blessing, right? I'm very thankful for it in a way. I don't know what to make out of it. There's a big part of me that personally says, if I knew it was because they cared about me, and evidently they're helping to guide me to get through in my life, then get this, then I wouldn't even be sharing any of this. I wouldn't even be sharing it. But I feel like a victim and that I was taken advantage of, so I can't help that. Because stuff like this has happened to me. Nothing like this that I'm sharing right now, but different things that I've been through in my life, obviously. I couldn't help but think negative, but now I'm smart enough to know to think negative or positive. But you can't help but realize, too, you don't want to be totally stupid. These people may be helping me, but the truth of the matter is they're also totally taking advantage of me because they're using my ideas and everything for their own self-gain. Whether they're intentionally trying to do it to try to help people or to be, you know, to somehow include me into what it is that they do is one. I don't know what to make out of it because I never had one of them come to me and say, you know what, you have been an inspiration to me. Even without saying their name, you've been an inspiration to me and I'd like to submit you a donation because your life is inspired. I don't have any of that or anything like that. But I will tell you this, that on the streets, that I've also met celebrities face to face. But you wouldn't recognize them, and most people wouldn't. I did, and I'm not going to say any names. They met me face to face, when I was in cat costume or not. One of them even had me sing, you know, one of their own songs. I don't know what to make out of this. Again, I say I don't know what to make out of it. But I had a lot of crazy experiences. Evidently, there was a lot of ruckus that was stirred up, and it striked interest for a lot of people. Because I'll tell you what, people like me that fell into that position, you might have heard about it more so years ago, but nowadays it's probably just a small percentage of people that end up having as much talent as I do. And in their eyes, basically not doing anything with it. But I already did everything that I could possibly do with it, and I realized that I have to change everything about myself in order to do it. And because they call it women of that and they know that, is it because they have compassion? They care? I've never said anything to them, but I've known. And it was one that I definitely knew because, of course, I got to hug him in Cincinnati, and I told him I would never tell him who it was, but you know, there's something to be said about that. I didn't ask him for an autograph. I didn't ask him for a picture. I asked him for a hug. Can I have a hug? That's me. You know, I'm not looking to take stuff from people. For me, in a situation like that, I hug somebody at that status because in my time of desperation to escape all my pain and stuff, people like that were in my life through media, you know, and that's my way of saying thank you. So, I mean, that was a pretty, and I got to meet a lot of other ones that actually were on tour and playing in Cincinnati, but I know people that have come, not necessarily maybe not out of their way, but they came in very plain, unrecognizable, and I recognized them, and some of them talk, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, I know exactly who you are. I don't know exactly why you're here talking to me, but it is what it is. So obviously Cincinnati's a big city and all kinds of people from around the world go there, so obviously the cat person is out there and people might be curious. Who knows what the reasoning is, but I felt all kinds of different confused feelings about it. Some of them negative. When you look at it on the positive, it's wonderful. When you look at it in the negative, it's not so wonderful. All right. So anyway, I realized that I can only go in one direction. Right back basically where I came from, tiptoeing. Because I don't want to make the same mistakes I did before that made me miserable, but I can see that I have to do it anyway. If I'm going to choose to live, then I have to do it. If I choose to eliminate myself per se, I don't have to do it. I've had people in the industry tell me, you know, because I'm not looking at it as a music business. I'm thinking about ministry. And I'm taking it very serious. And I'm saying, you know, at that time I was involved in churches and stuff. There's a whole LGBT community. There's all kinds of events that they hold and stuff. I'm a transsexual singer with a lot of talent. I'm thinking and using my mind, and I have quite a life story. There's all kinds of things that I can do. I'm not here for your entertainment pleasure. But because most people are very narrow-minded in their approach to how one should go about their life in a lot of situations, the same thing's no different in the music and entertainment industry. They're very narrow-minded as well. And they have their own personal greedy reasons. Because they're really the ones in control. They put it out there. People have to face it. They see it. I'm not saying with me. I'm saying with whatever. You know, different people of different races that have gone through it for centuries. And it's always something. You know, they have a reason why they put stuff out there, and it's to program our minds. And we let it happen. When we should turn off the television and shut down the ridiculous programs that are out there, making us sometimes making us more stupider than we need to be. All right? So because I realized I'm going to have to start doing venues, I'm thinking probably LGBT clubs, because that's what they kept saying. You know, you can pretty much do anything in the LGBT scene because they're more open-minded with, you know, an approach. So there's going to be a better opportunity for me. Well, I don't want to be in a box. I really don't. And I don't see myself performing in venues in a cat costume and stuff. You know, maybe working at Walt Disney World, or, you know, hanging out on Las Vegas Strip or something like that, you know, on the streets, but doing children's parties and stuff. But I don't really see myself really going back into that. My music and the costume, it just doesn't, it's not matching. So that's when I decided I'm going to start making my recordings. I got to try to find my voice, make a few recordings, make a CD promo package. I have a visual and an idea of course, I released in Nebraska. If I could get the right image, I would be happy. It'd be like meeting me in the middle with it, you know. And I gotta say, that broke my heart, because I didn't want to go back into it as a business like that, because I understand the stresses and the pressures and the necessities of creating a specific image that is going to be pleasurable in a majority of people's eyes. Alright, it's not that I can't do it. I wanted to do something fun. I didn't want to be a people pleaser the rest of my life. I wanted to be an entertainer and use my gifts and talents to educate and stuff and beat Tracilyn. Obviously, there's not enough time. I believe in myself. There's not enough time and stuff on my side to do it. I have to make money now. Make money now. But I'm never going to make money unless I invent myself. I mean, that's just the reality. Let me tell you something. You don't know until you're out there and you know. Again, I'm going to say 90% or something like that of the transsexual community is in poverty. I'm no better than anyone else. All right? I'm not going to be able to go out and get a job that actually pays. I'm going to have 15 and I'm still not going to be getting by. No, 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 no. Create my job. And creating a job is no different than starting out in an entry-level position and working your way to the top. Okay? It's no different than going to school and getting your education and doing the same thing. Okay? It takes years. It takes years to start a business. You talk to some people have luck. Some people have luck, and that's what it is. Not blessings, but the luck. And let me tell you something. Luck doesn't come my way. I killed myself for 7.5 years. If I'm going to do the music business, I'm on my own. Okay? I'm on my own. So if I'm going to do it on my own, I can't do it as hard and as fast as I used to. Not to mention I'm limited because I am Tracilyn. Consider me whatever you want, but I am a transsexual lady, and I hate to say that. I'm just a lady. And it's very unfortunate for me that because of all the judgment, instead of listening to my talent and recognizing the fact that I am a beautiful spirit when I don't have a bad attitude like anyone else, you know, I have a lot to offer this world, and this world just says, get back in that hole, we're going to open up our heinies and we're going to take a dump on you. That's the reality. I got to find my market. I got to create my image that I'm happy with because I'm going to have to live my life every day doing this, knowing I don't want to do it anyway. But I have to do something, right? Well, if I can't invent myself and have fun with it and then make money, well, I might as well just go right back to what I used to do, right? Take off the makeup, like they said, lose the nose ring, and darken my hair. Why don't I just shave off my hair? It makes sense to me, right? Well, don't do that, right? Don't do that. So it's a huge disappointment to me. But I do have another image, and I'm not going to talk much about it. And it's one that I could be very, very happy with. The problem is I need the resources. The problem is I need time to put it together. And, you know, and the thing is on top of it, it's a long shot for a transsexual to be struggling through her life, hoping that she's going to get a show, considering the whole world is freaking closed the door on all of them. It's not just me. And I have lots of girls that I've met in passing with trans. I don't take it personally. I take it personally because it's horrible the way that the world treats us. And it goes on. And there aren't laws that protect us. They're starting to become. It's absolutely ridiculous on a lot of the things that I had to endure and go through. And I'm one of the I am lucky. Because in a lot of situations when I do blend myself in and I know fully how to do it, the bottom line is, I don't need to worry as much as a lot of the other people. I got height. That's it. Draws a lot of attention to me. So I started creating this CD. The sad thing is I couldn't do it in my bedroom. I had to carry all of my resources on a daily basis down to the roof of my car. Some of you may have seen the photos that I had posted online. On a cement floor, pretty much in a cold basement or garage. I'm grateful that I have a place to do this. But can I tell you, I'm not happy about it. I'm grateful for the owner and having the house and all this other stuff, but I'm not grateful because I'd like to just be able to do it right there in my bedroom or somewhere nice. I'm all about atmosphere. So here we go back to the garage days like Metallica, you know? I'm going down to the garage and I'm working on my stuff, occasionally being interrupted when I let people know. And I've learned something through this process. When you're reinventing yourself after you've fallen as far down as I did, you have to stay committed every day, all day long. That's all you do. Why did I get out of the music business? Because all day long, every day, all day long, that's all I did. I'm doing it by myself, for myself, and I'm not happy about it. I want to have a life too, you know? I want to do other things. I don't want to just do business. Well, now I'm starting all over again. I have no other choice because I got to get out of this house and I need to start taking care of myself. I'm just leading myself right back into a miserable life. That's it. A very miserable life. A house that I don't want, or an apartment that I don't want anyway, with bills that I don't want to even worry about, because I'd really rather travel and do my music. Or travel and have a job that pays. Stay in a hotel, you know, for a week or so and then go play a bunch of venues and then move on to the next city or whatever, and main city, and do that. I like to move, and I like living in hotels, believe it or not. I don't like living in an apartment that I don't care about having. I always thought that I'd be sharing a place with somebody special in my life. Even a family of people. But I never realized how challenging it is to live with others until I did. Not like when I was a kid growing up. Not like some of the situations I've been in. This was the most challenging thing I've ever did my whole life. In the last year and a half. When I started working on those songs, of course, I didn't know about how a professional sings. I didn't know about finding my voice key. I didn't know a lot of the different things that I was working on, learning how to sing my harmony right. I didn't know that I couldn't sing. I made a living for 7.5 years, and I cut songs that were radio airplayed. But I didn't know how to sing. Figure that out. So I'm figuring all this stuff out, and I feel like there's something outside myself that is teaching me this stuff. And it's ensuring me to tell me that if anybody asks how you learned how to sing, this, that, hey, God taught you. I feel that this is happening. God is teaching me. God is teaching me. I had some different spiritual encounters that happened. I had one night that I walked upstairs into my bedroom, and all I saw were these like green stars all over the place. It was phenomenal. Great experiences, scary experiences. I felt like there was something actually inside of me, teaching me how to do all this, communicating with me. So much so that I wasn't sure if it was what one would call the Holy Spirit, God, or if it was Satan, or if somehow somebody else is doing something. Like, what did I inhale that day out in Las Vegas? Was there actually something that we are totally unaware of from outer space, do you think? Aliens or whatever? And there's some kind of spirit form that, I don't know. I don't know what to make out of a lot of this stuff that happened because I had a lot of crazy experiences. These are the crazy things that I've had happen to me. I started feeling at some point like there was a lot of celebrities, people, watching in on me. And things that I would be talking about, like even with this one punk from up north of Ohio. He knows who he is if he sees this, or if he hears me now. I was talking about dying and stuff, and different things, because I was just going through a hard time. And I would actually, when I was done for the day, I would actually go up and I would see on some of these people's Facebook pages, images. In this situation, he had a gun to his head. Was that really meant for me? Or how was that meant? I guarantee it's not on his Facebook page anymore. Because I looked like a little bit later on in time, and because I was going to use it. I was actually going to use this. I got some images from him, but I'd be talking about different things, whatever, about whether it be keyboards, if I had access to keyboards and making sounds, or different things that I was talking about, a train, sounds of a train. That's what I'm passionate about. Can I tell you, I would see it, and that's why I got rid of all the people that were on my Facebook, because it was either A, doing something to my mind and driving me crazy, thinking there was coincidences, doubtfully. I will say that very strongly and very confidently, or somehow, some way, these people were either A, trying to communicate with me in a positive sense, or they were trying to drive you crazy. Let me tell you something. It can be used to try to lift up people, or it can be used to drive people crazy on purpose. This is what psychopaths and stuff happened to them years ago, only we didn't have the modern technology. So now it's even more easy to do it. to people. Some young teenagers, you can be like, oh my God. And I can't believe my favorite artist of all time is actually, he's sending me signals and stuff. But the reality of it is, are they or are they not? They may be. It may be that artist or whatever is actually watching them or listening to them in their daily life. You have no idea. We only know what we've been taught and what we know and what we see and what we experience here. And most people that see this and hear this say, she's absolutely crazy. Good. I'm crazy, right? I'm not crazy. And I can point a lot of this stuff out. So I also started noting that a lot of the stuff that I was doing now became like a wave. It started a wave of other people, like even just like me. I got to say that I got it from going to religious gatherings because they put the words, to the songs and stuff. And I wanted to have a rock and roll ministry. So I had wanted to transpire over into my rock and roll ministry to do a lot of things that inspired me through going to these churches. I wanted to kind of use similar technology and stuff in my own way to produce this out. And can I say that I've never in my life seen anybody doing stuff like that without it being in the Christian community until I started doing it. And all of a sudden you will see, I can say some names straight up, but you can see that a lot of these artists started doing the same thing because they're listening in on my conversations with myself and stuff, and they're realizing things that they're too busy working on their business and working on their life and stuff like that they're not as heavily into. You were looking at somebody who studied the power of the mind and religions and positive thinking, all this stuff, human behavior, for years. I know what I know. And I'm talking about the power of words and about mixing all the images and stuff like that and putting them there, how effective that is in reaching into the hearts of other people. Well, this is great because it's kind of like I'm giving one-on-one instructions, but again, they're invading my privacy. I didn't invite them into my life. I didn't say, hey, you guys, if you want to, you can watch me via satellite, or you can microphone my guitar and listen to every word I say. I didn't do that. Or if I have a chip in here, I didn't say, hey, doctor, will you put a chip in here because I want everybody around the world to have access to wherever I am. I didn't ask for that. And I don't know if there's a chip there. I don't know if there's microphone. Coincidence, really? Doubtfully. So there was the producer at one point up in New York that I was talking to. I told him that I felt led to bring together some of the finest musicians and entertainers in the music and entertainment industry to erect my rock and roll ministry. I know that sounds crazy, but I felt that way. Well, in a sense, it's kind of like I got it, right? I mean, if they're either watching or listening to me, I mean, it's like they came around, they heard all my ideas, now they went out and used it. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy if you sit down and really use your mind and you think of all the different possibilities. Some of it, you know, that I'm sharing could be absolutely ridiculous. Others, no. Others, no. So because I felt so strongly there during the recording sessions that I was starting to have images put up through these people, I decided to cut ties. It was time to cut ties, because whether I'm feeling that way or it's true, it's time to cut ties. And it broke my heart because, again, I don't know in the long run if anybody had healthy intentions because they knew of my life and that I was bedridden and depressed and all this stuff I went through, if they were trying to be supportive or vice versa. They were trying to play head games with me. I have no idea. Either way, it was playing head games with me. So, of course, I was doing that, and I told myself this will be the last year I'm on the street, because being in plain clothes, doing what you're doing is just like, You know, I want to be self-supportive, at least somewhat, as far as having my own financial matters taken under control. And it's not that I want to work. I've been, and that's the whole thing since I came out here. But I also felt very strongly about, you know, having a ministry and all this other stuff. And it's like all this blew out of proportion is what I'm saying. And as I'm finding myself and figuring things out, I realize, you know, there's only one way it's going to save me, and that's if I create a career again. And what am I going to do? Well, listen, this might not sound, it may sound contradictory to what I said, but it's going to be what's the easiest for me. Something I'm familiar with. Go do the music again, learn cover songs, not a whole lot, try to find a balance, and go to coffee houses, bars, and venues, and wherever I can play. You know, I say that because it would be different if I was doing it together as a team with somebody somehow. Doing it all by myself or myself as a means for survival. I've already did it for 7.5 years. I have nothing to prove to myself or anything else, and I'm here to say it was one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. I burned out. There is no grace. You work extremely hard, and you're spending a lot more time doing the business part rather than doing what it is that you love, which I want to write songs and play. I want to drive I want to play. I want to play. I don't want to be calling up and begging people all the time to play in their venues and trying to prove to them and stuff. I just don't want to go down that road. If I have to change everything about who I am and what I love about myself, then this world isn't the right world for me. I'm in the wrong world. So always remember that I said that in this video, because my intention is not to stay in this world. I don't want to stay where I can't be Tracilyn. There was no mistake made when I came out. At all. It's just that people have, for centuries, been programmed into an idea, and they don't want to wake up. They don't want to wake up and realize it, and take their television and throw it out the window, and stop putting money into these big celebrities' pockets by paying these outstanding ticket prices to go see them. Why? Really, technically, most of their music is no different than anybody else's music. There's talent right there in your local clubs. There's talent right there in your local cities. Some of it may be way better. I'm not saying myself, I'm just saying, you know. Here in Ohio, we have outstanding musicians. I've met amazing songwriters. Far better than a lot. Let me tell you something, I evaluated a lot of live shows. A lot of live shows I've seen where people were paying big, high ticket prices. It wasn't worth it. People are missing out on some of the most amazing songs, plays, life experiences, because they're busy helping the rich get richer. And all they're doing is shooting it up their nose or in their arms. Not everybody. They're going out and buying their next yacht. They're building their 16th mansion. Why? And the thing is how they're doing it. They're stealing information from other people, invading into privacy. In a lot of situations, like, you see some artist taking a picture with a homeless person and then giving them a $20 bill. I'll tell you that right now, that's all just staged to get into your mind, to make you think that this person really cares. Because a real person that cares about the homeless won't be just posing a nice exotic picture with them and giving them money. Alright? You'd be doing a lot more for them. I don't want to get too heavy about it in this situation, but those of us who are struggling to survive, and there's a lot of us, are making the biggest mistakes if we ever put money into their pockets. For any reason. My suggestion would be, don't buy their albums. Don't buy their songs, don't buy their movies, don't buy their books. Go down to your local library, be supportive of it. Their books have already been bought. Get out there and make your own movies. You know, I was down south during my travel recently, and one thing I have to say is I applaud the panhandle of Florida and New Orleans because it was the first time that I traveled throughout the United States and the only time besides Las Vegas that I got to sit in a hotel room and turn on the television set and actually see an area of this country be supportive of its local artist. And I don't mean just music, local artist. I was blown away by that. And I started to realize even in my lifetime how local television and communications and stuff like that with music and the radio has been all taken away from us and ran by corporations. When they make money, they drain your pockets. They drain your bank accounts. That's what they want. They want them to have more and you to have less. George Carlin said that. Much differently, of course. There's so much more that we could be involved in, and we'd all be happier if we were just more supportive of our local communities. That's one thing I love about Cincinnati. You know, I'm sure if I heard some things, I might not like it. But, you know, from everything I've learned from the different people, they're very supportive of the arts. And they get together, they do fun things outdoors. Whether it's bike riding or doing some kind of special occasion or event. I like that. That gets me excited about life. You know, I'm disappointed because I knew that Ohio once had a regular show on television that was supportive of local entertainers. I didn't even know that anybody did it until I was down in Florida. I think it's really sad that we allow the corporations to rule over us. We don't need corporations as much as we think we do, or we've been brainwashed to think that we do. We don't need people in positions like presidency or government like they want us to believe we do. We don't need them at all. We don't need religious leaders telling us lies, brainwashing us to oppress us of everything that we are. They're not doing us any good anyway. If they were, you wouldn't be able to drive around the country and see how many people are laying out on beaches with lice, starving to death, barely any energy to stand up and walk around. Okay? Especially with all the abandoned buildings around. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I don't know what else to do, but the first words out of their mouth is going to be, well, they made the choice. Did they? Because that's the same thing that people say to me a lot of times. Well, all your choices led you to where you are. Really? Yeah. Can't fight about that. However, we're all making choices on really lame information that has been given to us our entire life. We're taught what they want us to learn. Nothing more. Nothing less. And most people, not all, most of Americans especially, they live in a little hamster cage. Most people I grew up with in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, they lived in Lebanon, Pennsylvania their whole life, and they died that way. I can't live like that. Something in my heart says I'm a little freer than that. But I gotta say, after my experience of traveling the United States, how I traveled the United States and the various encounters I had, there's no way I would leave this country to travel. I'd be too scared. Terrified. And I'll get more into that because we just know my whole life story has been kind of crazy. I don't want to travel that way. Traveling and doing what you love to do, making music or what have you, that's different. Especially the only way is if you're profiting. If you're going into debt doing it, of course, obviously it's not as pleasurable. So I planned on getting off the streets and into venues because I was not going to endure another winter of being bedridden, looking for jobs, knowing I'm not going to get one. So I'm going to go into venues, and can I tell you that as I was ready to step into venues, that's when I was asked to leave. And I'm not saying anything wrong with this. Understand that in this situation, the owner is frustrated because they have their own life to live, and they're opening up their home out of generosity to help other people. Then the other people are not getting along. But all the people that are coming there are not coming there with expectations of how they should live and who already lives there, to respect them. Let me tell you something. One thing I never received in that house was respect. I was disrespected all the time. I had to shut my mouth, put duct tape on it. I wasn't even told that a few times. But the bottom line is, even to the point that a teenager was told, if she ever does this, that, or the other, then just tell her. So I have teenagers now disrespecting me. Well, the funny thing is when I'm out and about, and in my other life that I had, teenagers respected me and loved me. Because I love kids. And I used to get along really great with teenagers. It's not that I don't now, but I used to really get along great. So to have a teenager tell you that that's what the owner himself told you, it's just a chain of, when people come in, Tracilyn is the one to beat. She is like it's like Cinderella's story. Only there's no Romeo showing up at my door to grab my slipper and sweep me off my feet. Tracilyn has to get creative in a world that has been programmed pretty much to hate her. Not just in that house, but everywhere. Because, let's just face it, most humans aren't going to be self-thinkers. The only reason they're going to mistreat you in their communication and not want to be around you is simply because their friends and their family, and it's been televised that it's absolutely ridiculous to be a transsexual. That's what they show on television. In their commercials and their videos, and you hear these people, and it's just when you know what you know, it's just like, it just makes me laugh that we allow ourselves for years, if not our entire lifetime, to let them set our standard and idea of how we should treat other people and ourselves. Most of the stuff that we're taught that we need in our diets or through physicians diagnosing us and stuff is lies. It's all money. They want money. The reason money was created is because it's the one thing, the one resource that was created that you can get anything with it, if you have enough of it. But really, what is money? Well, we can go back and say, well, it's nothing without the promise. Of course not. It's nothing at all. But it's something that we were taught, and it was put a value on, and now people kill each other for it, people rape you, people invade your privacy. They keep stepping on each other because they want to get ahead in life. And it's really sad. All of us fall into it at some point or another, most of us anyway. And eventually you realize that it's not all it's cracked up to be. Personally, I'd rather live in a healthy home environment where people loved me and we celebrated each other's lives. And not necessarily that money was such a big issue, but that, of course, if you have needs, certain needs or whatever, or you have the wants especially, you're going to work, you're going to do something for that. It would be much nicer to live more in a family-oriented environment, like the Indians lived years ago, or however, not necessarily lived how they lived, but values. It seems to me like there's less and less values that are occurring to all of us. It's becoming more of a self-centered world, even since back in the 70s. A lot has changed. So when I was asked to leave, what am I going to do? Well, when I was traveling, I said I always wanted to write a book. I was believing that somewhere and somehow along the line, God was going to open up a door to a place that was inspirational for me to be. That whether I was a personal living assistant or however it all worked out, I would end up living somewhere of inspiration and I would be able to write that book. I am all about atmosphere and inspiration, and if I'm living in an environment that I feel is unhealthy or it's not attractive to me for whatever reason to write, it's not. And I've proven that over and over again. I went to Las Vegas. Once I calmed down, after 2 weeks, I wrote a song. When I went down to Florida, I was inspired by Florida. I changed. I wrote a lot of songs about Ohio when I showed up here. But I gotta be honest, I don't want to keep writing similar songs. I want to write different songs. So I love to travel. I love different atmospheres. And, I don't really write about a lot of the things that other people write about. A lot of it's about, relationships and stuff. And I love you and I love this, that, and the other. And it's like, I like to write about different things. All kinds of things. How I ended up having to move is I oppressed myself of absolutely, get this is the truth. I oppressed myself of everything that I loved. Things that made me come to life. I had to be very careful how I ran on the treadmill, when and where. So I ended up, Tracilyn's the one that always ended up in the cold, dark places of the house. So when I worked in the studio, I had to take the stuff up every day, and I had to put it back up in my room not because they told me to, but because things would end up missing. Things would end up getting broken. So I couldn't trust to leave anything down there on the roof of my car, even if I'm going to return the next day, because it could very well end up being in somebody else's bedroom or sold at auction, so to speak. Could have, broken or whatever, and so I had to do that. It was a pain. There was a lot of stuff that I had to take up and down. I missed the day of having my own place and having an actual setup where I can just walk out and leave it there, I mean, people can say, well, what's the big deal? Listen, all this stuff trickles down. Not to mention, I'm looking for places to play my guitar because I'm getting on other people's nerves. I understand that. And can I tell you that whether I'm running on the treadmill, I'm doing that. I got to be doing stuff. I like to do stuff. I don't want to just sit around watching television. Forget that. I don't want to sit around on my computer all day. I want to actually physically do stuff. I saw this one guy on his talk show. He said when he was a kid, they used to actually climb trees and play in playgrounds in the yard. That's what I used to do. In my lifetime, I didn't climb trees because I was scared of heights. But I played. Listen, part of us being here isn't just to be a bore. Some people, all of us, get out there and enjoy yourself. Get outside. The government and the people in power want you inside. And they want you on your computer. Okay? Get out. Live your life. Stop supporting people that would never give you a time of day for anything. They have all the resources in the world. Do you think when you're down on the street and you had the crap beat out of you, you think they're going to open up a door and say, here, you can use my... They ain't going to say that. They're going to say, you weren't willing to go through everything I went through to get it. Get away from me. Stop asking me for favors. That's exactly what they would say. Some people are extremely that selfish. So, with that being said, that happens in small time as well as big time. But let me just rest assured that in your time of need, the same people you're supporting, they aren't going to support you. They're going to turn the cheek. They have other things to do. They'll step on you wherever they got to go. Sorry, you're in my way. I'm heading off to go get my new limousine or whatever it is, my new Porsche. I don't know. I'm in a hurry, They're about ready to lay on the paint job, and I want to make sure they have the right amount of sparkles in there. Whatever. It's absolutely crazy. And again, I'm going to say that we keep supporting people like that. We're doing it to ourselves. And it's frustrating to me as an artist because of my history of being in music and doing small venues. Is people don't appreciate original stuff. Whatever's considered original, pretty much everything's been done. But I'm just saying, they don't appreciate. I do. When I go to a venue, I always ask them if they're doing cover songs, especially. I don't want to hear that. Those songs that were written are for the other people. They're supposedly gifts to the world, but let me tell you something about gifts to the world. It's about time that the music and entertainment industry gets back to them what they deserve, because everything is for money. Money, 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 money. And guess what? Music wasn't intended for that. It's a very spiritual thing. Corporations and people in general have figured out ways to make a living off of it. Personally, as a ministry, I was looking for ways to raise donations so that I could keep on moving forward in my art to educate people and to be a voice for all the things that I've been through, for people, to be a voice. And I looked at it more as a ministry to raise the finances and the resources. But I've learned in the long run, that won't happen. People won't donate resources. They can have 75 sound mixing boards or 16 state-of-the-art computers and be like, and it'll just sit on a pile. What do they care? They're not out to try to help others. I mean, seriously, people like that are not out to seriously try to help people, and the bottom line is they have a reasonable cause. Nobody has helped me. So they run around with a bitter, evil attitude about it, and that's the way they go through their life. But understand this, these are the same people who are robbing other people of the things that they are doing for their advancement. And I even had so much that one guy, when I was talking to myself about this, he came up and he was talking to me. And he said, "That's right, Tracilyn. Some people do it for the money. And some people do it because they have to. I have to. I have to be Tracilyn. And I have to do my music. Every single time I do somebody else's song, especially nowadays, it's not that I won't ever do it. There's some of them that I feel have adopted me. You know, the Johnny Cash song, Chris Christopherson's song. There's a few songs that are just like they're babies to me, or they adopted me in as their mother or whatever, you know. And they just have so much meaning into my heart. But overall, I don't want to be a human jukebox, and that's what I used to do. I would always tell people, go to karaoke night or go ask the DJ or play the jukebox when I'm on break. You know, I'm not here to do everybody else's songs. There was supposed to be a purpose behind every song that I sang. Okay. So eventually I oppressed myself of everything that I love because it's getting on everybody else's nerves, and they're not just nitpicking on something little, it just magnified to more and more and more. They just simply don't like Tracilyn, and I gotta say that there's some people that just wanted her out. And I know the story as to how the last thing that started was basically a new person that came into our home was drinking, and she looked underage to me. She should be grateful that I felt that way. And she felt that she wasn't obligated to show me her ID, at least that she was old enough to drink. And I don't want the responsibilities of people living reckless lives in that house. Things get out of control. Why isn't it that you didn't stop them from drinking? You knew that there was underage people there. Anything could happen when things get out of control. It was in my assumption that the best solution was not to have any alcohol in the house. Just leave it out. You know, we don't need that. We're here to live and get our lives together. We don't need to be sitting around and doing stuff like that. You know, I understand some people like to drink, but if you're going to have people in and out and all kinds of people, you just can't trust anybody. That's what I've learned. You just can't trust anybody. It's not a stable, drama-free, safe home environment for anyone to live. And it's unhealthy for us because we're mix-match personalities. So because of that, I actually called the cops and asked them to come over and check her. I want to know. I want to know what the consequences are for this. If she would be underage and I never said anything, and she goes out and kills somebody in the car by accident, runs over one of the neighbor kids or something, or runs into their house or their yard or something. I want to know. I care. Okay, I care. So I was out of line for caring. And because everybody's taught not to respect Tracilyn when they come there, I'm 41. These people are like half my age or younger. Okay, whatever. So I snapped at that point. I was asked to leave. So I've learned in the process is no matter what other people are doing, I need to shut my mouth, mind my own business. But in the same token, I can't say anything about anything. Their dirtiness, whatever it is. In fact, I was even told to clean up after these people. They were slobs. I'm not cleaning up after anybody. I would do my house chores and do what I was asked to do, but I will never clean up after people like that. They were a bunch of slobs. I was tired of doing it, so I said, let the owner see it. And the owner told me one day to pick up, and I said, no way. I'm not going to do it. I just swept the house and all this other stuff, and they're letting their stuff lay around that. I'm not here to clean up after 20-some-year-old people. They need to clean up after themselves. It's just little stuff like that. It just started getting, I became Cinderella. Living with a bunch of, mixed match personalities. Sharing, I said this before, sharing my story and being honest with myself about who I am, what's in my heart, and about my life story has been the most therapeutic thing I've ever done in my entire life. And it was also the most challenging outside of the music business for me. It was even more challenging than that. And I will say it is the most frustrating experience of my life. And looking at it in my life, I'm 41 years old, can I tell you that the last 19 months of my life have been the most difficult of all my life put together. I've never been so miserable. And in the end, instead of kissing the mirror, I don't really like to take off my clothes anymore. A lot of times I'll sleep on the bed with my clothes. I can't take care of myself like I was. I was finally starting to eat mainly organic foods. I really do want to be a vegan, so I strive at being a vegetarian. And, let me tell you something. In my diet alone, I've noticed a huge difference in all my 5 senses. When I'm eating the garbage that's sold at fast food, at any restaurants, that's being sold in the grocery stores, retail stores, grocery stores. Most people will never recognize it because they don't step away from it and try to eat stuff that isn't so much filled with the processed and all the sugars and all the fattening stuff and everything unhealthy. You have no idea. That's shutting down everything. That's destroying your vision. That's destroying your sense of touch, your taste, your smell, your hearing. It's affecting everything. Only it goes unrecognized because people just continue to do it, whatever, and they make jokes about it. I'm going to die eating a cheeseburger, Maybe that's the reason why you're dying. Maybe that's why you have that sickness. Let me tell you something. We only are told what we've been taught, and we're discovering it, and we're learning more. But because I was disciplined in being true to my heart, knowing who I am and aware of the world around me, because I was willing to eat as healthy as possible and exercise regularly and stay committed, I've learned more, I can be honest, than I care to have learned. I don't want to learn anymore. At all. It's very scary when you start realizing all this stuff. I cried at some point when I got into Hollywood, and I'll explain that later because I'm running out of battery. When the girl I met took me into the grocery store with her, I took her to the grocery store because I had a car. And she knew my situation and she wanted to buy food, groceries. And she asked me what I wanted, and I told her I didn't want anything. Whatever she got was fine. I got to eat whatever's available, and I hate that, but because most people don't eat like I do, that I meet. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but most people don't eat the same. And I have to suffer because I have to take what's available, and what's available really is poop. Decays and rots your teeth out, screws up your skin, Everything. It's just horrible. Most of the food is really horrible. American food is, a lot of it is just absolutely horrendous. I don't know about other countries, but I know about here. And I've learned. I've learned through being disciplined going the opposite way. And you don't know it until you do it. For a long time, too. Not just for a day or two. I didn't notice anything. No, it's long term. And I've seen everything, my senses retract itself when I started living on the road again. For 3 months, 4 months now. Horrible. It breaks my heart all the time, to the point that I even see it in my gut and stuff. And it's just like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I can't take care of myself. And we have more to talk about this when we flip over with that. But I want to try to nail this last piece here on this page. Ooh, I actually have a lot to share on here. Very interesting stuff. One time, I'm going to go with this. This might not be so interesting, but and I don't think this guy had anything to do with it. But somebody approached me and he said, "You know, why don't you make a video?" This is before I started doing my videos of me playing out on the street and stuff. Why don't you make a video? And the bottom line is, I don't have the resources. Nobody's loaning them to me except for the owner, and the owner takes them whenever he felt justified to take it because it's his. He's going to use it. Well, if I don't have the resources and I don't really have the money to get this stuff, what do I do? Get a job. Well, making music is my job. I don't know what to do. It seems to me that everybody I talk to that have the resources, they don't even want to loan. Nobody wants to loan anything, or they want to help you. And it's all centered back in, you got to stop expecting people to help you and do things. Yes, you do. You're right. In this world, you got to stop believing that God is going to work through people and help you and guide you along in your life journey. And you got to start waking up to reality as the world's telling you right to your face, I have what could help you and the resources, but screw you. Go get a job. Go make a job. Well, I can't get a job. I try getting a job. Doesn't matter. Well, it'll take me 6.5 years just to make it on the salary that America pays. You know, the jobs that we can get around here would take me for a lifetime just to save up for a camera. Well, most people just use their cell phones, you know. Everybody's wonderful. Tracilyn's still using a chisel and a rock because she's on a tight budget and can't afford it. Well, that's not our fault. You did that yourself. Yep. Where does God come into this? Doesn't his people, help each other? Isn't there something I can do in exchange? Can I do that? You know? Nope. Nope, you just gotta go do it yourself. This is the kind of stuff that I've learned is true human nature. Let me tell you something. There are a few people in my life back in Pennsylvania that tremendously helped me. If it wasn't for them, I would have never gotten started in my life. I would have never got through life without them. They have resources and stuff. They don't care if they didn't see me for 10 years. Whatever. They believe in what it is that I do. They love me. They don't need to be in my life every day, and they have no problem. Times were different, of course, before I came out as a transsexual. But I found out today that there still are some people who care and they can loan the resources. They might not be able to help me any other way, but they would do that. Can I tell you how refreshing that is? Because I have not run into that anywhere. I have not. Listen, the kindest people in all the world live out here in Ohio, but I have not run into that out here. I've run into the complete opposite. Maybe I'm just not meeting the right people. Maybe people have just been through so much in their own life, they're just like, I'm not sharing anything with anybody. I'll tell you what, from anything I learned in Christianity, faith, that's not a Christian attitude. I'm not saying let people take advantage or whatever, but I'm out here spilling out my heart. Obviously, everybody around me is seeing me as doing nothing but goofing off, playing around, and doing nothing with my life. But everything about me is smart enough to know, because I'm actually pretty wise in some areas, and that area is that I've been helping the entire universe. And the people who have been robbing invading my private life, they're fully aware of it. They know that other people don't get it. They may never get it. So they're going to take advantage of it. Because they know when Tracilyn shares, what's that going to sound like? She's a mental case. She's been in mental institutions, etc., etc. I'm crazy. Maybe so. If I'm crazy and I'm not crazy, then why aren't I in a mental institution here in Ohio, having my needs met? Why am I not given a disability? You know, I don't know the process of all this stuff. Guess I gotta check myself in, huh? I'm not that crazy. Because if I was crazy, they would have already committed me. And I had some of the most amazing specialists in all the world tell me I'm not crazy. Humans have a condition. Society as a whole has a mental condition. That mental condition is created by people who want everything. Ownership of you. Ownership of everything. The funny thing is they can't possibly own everything. It's only an illusion that they can own it. There's a heck of a lot more of us than there is of them. And a whole state of the art of why they are moving so fast and so forward and keeping all this other stuff hidden from us, technology-wise, is because they're going to use it against us, as they already have been doing for years. But it's going to get a lot more serious than that. People in power don't need as many humans anymore as they used to. It's all very crazy that I would even find myself talking about this, but it is true. I get it. And we're foolish because we're fighting amongst ourselves and we're living out on the street. We're living being prostitutes when we don't want to be, and we're starving and eating garbage, and we're letting these people do it to us. And we go about our life giving each other a hard time because that's what they want. They want us down here. It's like we're down on the first level and we're fighting amongst ourselves over the most ridiculous things. When really we ought to be going upstairs and throwing them overboard, the ship. Really, because we don't need them. It's a worthless position. All they're doing is pounding the you-know-what out of us. Listen, I love music a lot, and there's a lot of people that I used to admire a lot, and I still do. But the people in entertainment and stuff, you know why they're there? They're there to be kind of like leaders for you. They're paid off leaders. Because they want to control you. And most of us at some point in our life fall victim to the stupidity of, I do this because so-and-so does this, because so-and-so said that. It's just a big stage of acting. That's it. So, my battery's getting ready to die. I only did not even one full page. I'm going to have to download this stuff and probably work on it tomorrow. I know my voice is the way it is and I'm frustrated. I don't know if I'm going to share this video or not. I did this for me. I know that if I pursue music and I choose to stay alive, and I'll get more into that later, that I'm going to have to eliminate pretty much my whole project. Not all of it, but most of it. I'm not happy about that. I had a lot of corrupted beliefs. Nothing came out the way that I would have desired it to. And if I'm going to just live to make money so I can have my own place, so I can, do whatever, it's pointless. If there's not a home for me where I can be loved and appreciated, desired, and I can have fun and be a part of something and, use my talents and gifts to, I don't mind being an entertainer and stuff, but there's no more purpose for me. I'm not going to go out, try to go to college and all this stuff. Yeah, I do music. I'm an entertainer. And I'm just as good as anybody else that's out there in my own way. In my own way, not comparing. And I know what I had to do and what I had to go through in the past. I wanted to do something new, different, and I did. And it's very obviously that it's not going to get me anywhere but in deeper trenches. I'm very angry at the way that we've all been treated. I do care. I do care about everyone. And because I've had to go and endure and be through all the things that I have, I've also learned a lot about human nature and the reasoning as to why people mistreat other people and bully them around and stuff. Some of it's human nature, but a lot of it is programmed because people are allowing themselves to be brainwashed into a standard that is unrealistic. It's easy to be myself. It's easier for me to just do what I love to do. And I mean easier than it is fighting to try to do things I'm not talented at. That's not a bad thing. It's good. It comes natural to me. It's who I am. Obviously, I don't smile too much anymore. I've been miserable ever since I came back from Las Vegas the first time. As I close out this because the battery's about ready to shut down, I would say simply do yourself a favor and run away from all Christian communities, religious communities. They're destroying you, even if it gives an illusion that you're having a better life. And until you fully, 100%, put all your trust, faith, and belief in it, you will never know until your head hits the concrete and you're almost dead. I'm going to download this and I'll be back either tomorrow or later on tonight. Real love.